The advice to be yourself is not said so often for no reason. It's single handedly one of the greatest pieces of advice that you can be given, and I think that it's very essential and very important that we're doing this. We're sharing this message with kids during their young years, but at a stage in time, we forget about it. We're more focused on chasing the money and prospering and providing than being ourselves throughout that process. And before we can make sense of that, before we can even follow what it means to be yourself, now that we're nuanced individuals and we have all these synapses and pathways that we've formed and all of these complications and people around us that influence us and social media and our opinions changing every moment, our beliefs being dictated by algorithms, how can we understand what is the self? I think the self, roughly, is well defined by the self is the image of the accumulation of our decisions, the thoughts behind them, and the output towards those decisions. So, an example of a decision would be going to the bank to get money. The decision, one, is to go to the bank because it's payday. The action, I went up to the bank teller and I said, "Excuse me, miss, can I have $1,000?" And the result is I took the $1,000, I walked out of the bank, and I spent it on whatever. That would be another system that we'd have to put the action through. But it changes, right? That's a super simple action. And you might see the three steps glued together. But what happens if we make it more nuanced? What happens if the first step is getting a girl? And instead of just going after the girl, it's now I watched a video from a very famous influencer who's bald and gives toxic advice to young men. How will this young man who wants to get the girl, which is only natural and it's a good thing, um, use that poor advice on the girl? And then so that's the decision now. It's more nuanced because it's not getting the girl. It's getting the girl by X, Y, and Z, right? The framework is now the decision. And the action is the follow through of that decision. I will say, though, that that individual that I mentioned earlier is a good example of how to live your life, ethics aside, right? This is a bell curve that I totally stole from someone on Twitter. I couldn't find it. I looked it up too. So if you know the original tweet, please share that. X, the Everything app, right? We all love the Everything app. Let's walk through this. Assuming now that we know what the self is, we can walk through this. But before that, I want to address what people are saying about in the future, right? Because that framework is all based on what is in the past. And the moment is defined. We run it through a system, right? And when an action is being taken place, it's in the present, but it's going through the system. So we don't see it as the engineers of ourself or the consultants of the personality, I guess we can call it, um, until it's passed through that machine. So all that is in the framework occurs in the past because that's all we see. And you might say, oh no, that's not possible because I'm myself in the future. But if you went through a terrible accident and you lost brain capacity and you were brain dead, you were a vegetable, who would you be then? Now this is a more uh, th- uh, this is a more difficult conversation, is it not? We have to run through hoops now to defend whatever agenda we had. But people will still look at you and think of you, the self that you embody, the soul that's inside of you, as the memories they shared with you, and the three steps that went into creating yourself in those memories. Now that we understand that, we can look at this framework. This is a bell curve, normal distribution. This is also a bell curve, normal distribution. The thing is, you see this? It's got a much higher peak, and it's much more narrow. This is most people. Most people are narrow because they're scared. They live in fear. I've been there. I've done that. And what this means right here is the amount of people who love or hate you, right? Not like or dislike you. That's what this is, right? Like or dislike. They tolerate you, but at the end of the day, if they like or dislike you, they don't really care for you. This, the shaded area, is the people that love you, right? You want people that love you. You don't want people that hate you. That's traditional knowledge. But people hating you is only a sign that your true self is out there, that you're actually having stimulated conversations based on your thoughts in the moment, being mindful, and what it is you truly believe. Your beliefs that were cultivated by your values, your experiences, not your experiences scrolling on Twitter, your experiences sharing conversations with others, living in other people's homes, sharing meals with people you've never met, walking down the street and you know, just living in the moment. There's not really a better way to say that. If you're living, it's just, that's why when you try to meditate, you don't have thoughts out there. And that's when you recognize that life is nothing. That's wrong. Life is not nothing. Life is. If that can make sense to you. You want more people to hate you because that's a sign that more people love you. And the more people that hate you only fuel the love that you have for these other people. If you're in the middle, you're trapped in purgatory. Nobody loves you. Oh, nobody hates me though. Nobody loves you. Your family loves you because they have to. They would have loved you if you were a serial killer, many of them. That's just biology. That's biology. That's woven into us. They want the best of us. They love us because we're born into this world. And it's more complicated than that because many people don't have families that love them. All I'm trying to say is that if you're young and you feel scared about being polarizing, especially with the internet. Now, if you want to be yourself, you can get broadcast to millions of people, billions of people. The whole world hates you now, right? And that's an copious amount of pressure for a young individual. But that really doesn't happen. It doesn't happen anymore. Find your people. You want to find your people? That's everything that life is. Life is sharing beautiful times with those you love. Following your passion, your purpose, and supporting those around you while you do that. Making lasting impact on those around you. Because if you really make a lasting impact on those around you, you never die. You live through that impact. They share that moment. I have a really messy bed. They share that moment with those around them after you pass, and then their descendants do that. And that only happens when you have a strong, tight knit relationship with others. If you don't, it's dust in the wind. There's no meaning to that. It's like a sauce stain on a plate. You just put it in water and it goes away, right? It's a crumb on a plate. What are you doing? Come on. If you want to make it, throw the sauce all over their shirt, right? Some people will hate that you threw sauce on their shirt. Some people will hate you poured coffee on them. But other people, they'll laugh and you'll have a good time. And that shirt will go in museums. Not that there will be museums in the future. For sure. Art, probably not so much. But museums, for sure. Peace.